Welcome to Conversations in Between the Realms, a podcast where the mystical meets the everyday. Join Amanda Nova and Beth Renov each week as we dive into the profound journey of awakening, sharing our experiences, insights, and the lessons that guide us toward our divine purpose. Together, we awaken and guide our souls and others, exploring the magic of living in the 3D while staying connected to the higher realms, embracing the challenges, and celebrating the growth. You've been guided here for a reason. Trust in the journey and let the unfolding begin.
Hello and welcome back to Conversations in Between the Realms. I'm Amanda Nova and I am here with Beth Renov today, as always. And we're mid-laugh. We just started mid-giggle over here. Hi, welcome. How are you today, my glowing beauty?
I am good. Rushing around, solo over here. It's been so nice to have some alone time, which I haven't had in 5 years. 6 years. Oh my God, yeah.
Why? Where is Lauren?
She's at a work conference, but she's
never. She's a way away.
She's a way away.
Oh,
and
so lucky.
Oh my God, it's been really, I do miss her. When she was leaving, I thought I'd be more excited. And I was like, oh, I kind of don't want you to go. I don't know what it's like to not have her here 24/7.
Yeah.
I either go somewhere, but I'm never going somewhere where I'm alone. So I've literally not had alone time in since COVID started. So I am very much
so jealous. Rob got home late from a hockey game last night, and when he gets home late, this is so terrible. When he gets home late from hockey games or when I'm sick, he'll sleep in the guest room, and I love having the bed to myself. But if I'm awake, he wants to sleep in the bedroom. So I saw him come pull in. I woke up and I realized he was outside, and I was like, he cannot know that I'm awake. Must look like I'm sleeping. I'm please don't come in the bed. I love having the bed to myself. Oh my God, I'm so in love. Oh, that's so delicious. I was just about to ask you a question that I asked Rob earlier this morning. So, okay. My question is, if you could do anything in the world except for your current job, your current occupation, and anything else that you do, what would you do as your career? So you can't do therapy and you can't do anything spiritual. You can't do anything that you currently do. What would you do?
I'd be an actor or a singer.
Okay. I kind of thought that's what you were going to say.
Yeah. No, but so what I was saying before is I love and I've always loved makeup. You would not know by how I dress, but I love makeup. I love hair stuff. I'm really, really good at that stuff. I would also do that too. But I don't know how to cut hair. I have cut Lauren's hair during COVID, and the person she went to after was very impressed with the cut I gave.
Oh, stunning.
I attempted bangs, and that did not go as well.
No, nobody should ever attempt bangs, not cutting bangs. And whenever I have bangs, which I do every few years, it's a big red flag for me having a bad moment in life. I'm going through something when I cut bangs, everyone, and people always, Rob's always oh no, if I cut bangs, it's big, gigantic sign of I need help. SOS. Amanda's going through something when the bangs come in. But you said that about hair and makeup because the reason why was that my answer to that was that I would do makeup because I used to do makeup and I was doing my makeup before we hopped on, and I was thinking how much I love makeup and I love doing makeup and I would just love playing with it. And so that was my answer to it. So when you said that to me before, I was like, oh yeah, I would do makeup. And I would have done makeup and continued working in that and stayed a makeup artist if my parents didn't, make me stay in school and stay in business school.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I mean, I everybody's weddings. I've rarely gotten my makeup done for a wedding, maybe 2. I would wind up doing everybody's makeup over.
Same. Yeah, same.
My brother's girlfriend when I was in high school or maybe even middle school is a professional makeup artist. She does it now for celebrities and stuff. She does it for Jewel.
Cool.
But she I know. And Kiernan Shipka, I think. I couldn't tell you what she's in. Oh, she was in Mad Men when she was little, but now she's in more things.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay. I know who that is.
But she showed me like how to do my makeup because she'd come over and like do it for me every time. And so she would go to all these things. So she'd get like the Mac professional stuff. So I always had like the best tools and stuff. And then I got into like doing hair, which is so weird because I have older brothers, but I was always so girly, you know?
Yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It was, I will say, like, it was probably one of my favorite jobs because I got so much makeup when I did it. And I worked behind the counter at Nordstrom, and then I freelanced for Mac. So I had so much makeup, but then I also then had that makeup. I finally just got rid of it, I think a year ago when I got a really bad sty. And then I was like, I this makeup I've had for like now over 10 years. Like, I got rid of my makeup. And but yeah, it's so funny we're on that wavelength as you were thinking that about hair, and I was like thinking about that the same thing today. I was like, wow, I just like love doing this. It's so fun. And I think it's really interesting. We talk so much about your authenticity and who you are and spirituality, and the reason why we wanted to start off with this convo is also like tapping into your gifts and who you really are is also about just what you love and these pieces of you. Like, it doesn't always have to be so like, namaste. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's doing fun things. I think that's like having fun, laughing, like really loving what you're doing, I think is the highest form of spirituality, you know? It's like that's what you're here for is those moments, you know? And that's really connecting with your highest self. And I'd argue like, even if you weren't doing makeup for other people, like I feel better about myself when I put on makeup,
Yeah.
And I remember I had a client who's like, but that's for like the patriarchy. And I'm like, you know what? Some things can just be for yourself. Like, it doesn't have to be because men like it,
Oh my God, people hate that little girls play with makeup. There's like so much. I mean, there's so much with that. And I have the girliest child, which is so crazy to me because even though I do love doing my hair and makeup because it makes you feel good. And there's something also about when we talk about embodying the highest version of yourself, I do think it's like feeling good. And that does have to do sometimes with hair and clothes and makeup. And I don't think there's anything that's a lack of spirituality in, like, it's not materialistic to feel good about yourself, right? And I have this girly child, even though I was like a tomboy, so tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
And she loves makeup. She princess dress every single day. Like, she's obsessed with wearing her Princess Elsa dress every day.
Ella too.
Yeah. And it's like, I would never stop her from exploring that. And there's people who are like, don't teach them that, like, they have to wear makeup to be pretty. Like, she just likes to play with it.
But because they like it, they see their moms do it, and it's not teaching them anything. It's just like, this is what makes me feel good. So Ella got 3 separate fake like makeup kits for her birthday. And one has like a flat iron, a hair dryer. And so everybody has their own. Like, I have my own I share with my mom, but she does it in an order and she does every single thing.
So
but
amazing.
I'm like, oh my God, you'll be so good at this when you're older. But
I know.
She also has like every princess dress there is. She had the Merida one from Brave and had the curly red hair wig. She looked like Carrot Top, which was hilarious.
Oh my God. I love it so much. I know.
Sorry, one thing, but like think about what play is, what doing all that is. It's imagination. It's when they're the closest to source it's something magical. It's something like, that they can go into and be that highest version of themselves because being a princess or whatever it is so magical for them. So it's just like, why would you take that away?
I know. It's so true. And I love all of that. I love the creativity. I love the imagination. And it's just all of that stuff, I think is just, I think there's so much magic, and I think connecting to source in so many things. And I'm going to do a hard pivot right now because a hard pivot into what we're going to talk about. But this is why I think, we're talking about source and spirituality in a lot of different places. But I really want to talk about sex today.
Yeah.
I know that's like a hard pivot. We're all over the place. I feel like I'm really
Yeah,
out of it today.
because no, I don't think it's that much of a pivot because it's something where you could play. It's something where you could be sensual. And, like people want to look their best and feel their sexiest. So, but I think there's something really like spiritual about sex too. And like you were saying yesterday, there's like sex magic. And I have to think when you're orgasming, like you are at a highest level.
You
Like
are.
you have to
You're
be.
connecting with source. So, okay, so there's this whole thing about manifestation and sex. And the whole thing is that, yes, you are in this space where you are connecting. And so people do these rituals or ceremonies or manifestations, which is referred to as sex magic, where you are actually calling in your desires in that space. So like when you're reaching that climax space, like then you're doing your like wish list, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is like the thing. And it's like that purest form. So like when you're in meditation and you're doing that, it's like except you're having sex and doing it. And apparently like that is like a really like good way to manifest, and a really pleasurable way to manifest.
Well, if you think about it, it's like you have to be really present for that to
Hmm.
happen, right? And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if like when you get to an orgasm, you're in the same brainwave as meditation. Like I have to look that up because I imagine you're something like that. And there has to be something because it like calms your body. You are really focused and you have to be really
Well,
still in some way.
well, you're
Like you couldn't really
surrendering. Well,
you're
you're really
surrendering.
surrendering, right? Because you're really
Right.
like letting go. Because if you
Same with
are
meditation.
right, so like because if you are in your head, and I think that this is especially true for women, right? Because like, think about it. Like if we start thinking about something else, like it's gone, right? Like we
It's done.
immediately get distracted, right? So it's like I think for us it's like we really have to surrender. And I do feel like when we talk about manifesting, we talk about that point of having your intention and then letting it go. And I do think that's really the whole thing. And if you also think about sex, it's also more than one person bringing that energy together, too.
Right. It's like a collective. It's like thinking, I don't know why it reminds me of like prayer for some reason, but the power of when everybody does prayer, like it raises the energy. Like same with sex. I'm not saying like, I don't know about group sex, but I'm sure that
Are
too.
you sure? Are you sure you don't know about group sex? What are you
No,
guys up to over there?
that is one thing I've never done and have no interest in doing. But it's just like I don't even want one person like seeing me naked, let alone a room of people. So, like, but I think there is something to it. It's just like you're all like matching energy, right? Like you and your partner, and it's so intense because you're connecting,
Yeah.
And I think with relationships, that's why it can kind of get you back on course, is because
Yeah.
it's this energetic connection,
Yeah,
you know?
it is. Yeah, well, it's really this true form too of like, when we think about it, and I wish I knew this when I was younger, because think about all the people that you've like let into your energetic space in such a raw and vulnerable way. I mean, it
Hmm.
really is one of
Yeah.
the purest and most vulnerable
Hmm.
ways of sharing your energy, right? Because you're really like letting people into that. You're sharing it, that energy is merging with the other person, like you said, right? And they used to, I mean, there were so many groups that did this, right? Like there were groups and rituals that did all of this in ancient times, because that energy is also the creation energy, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
is the energy, right, that also brings forth life too.
Yeah. And I have like chills with that. Like we like let alone just the enjoyment of sex. It literally
creates human life, which is insane. It still blows my mind. Like, how does that work?
I know. I know. So it's like there's the part of it that's the creation, you know, that creating life. It's also then, yeah, like you're combining your energy, you're letting people in. And that energy, like I don't think we don't realize when we're younger and we're like in college and we're like connecting energy with people that we're letting people in that way. Like think about how many people that think about how many people, like, look at us, like, we're such like little, I'm like, think about all the people that you let into your energy field, Beth. They just
Yeah.
out you as a little hoe bag over here.
I mean, college, a lot of people are in my energy. Um,
Right. But
but
like, we
but I
have
think
hold
that
on to
also
that
has to
too, though.
do but that has to do with self-esteem. I think you don't
Hmm.
know who you are. And I think especially like millennials, like we got like a message that like sex equals love, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like a very much like abandoning yourself in a way. Not that there's anything wrong with having sex, like as if you're safe and you want to do it with as many people as you want, that's fine. But I think like that was a different thing. It was like you didn't feel connected to your highest self. I don't even know that I was aware of it. So it was just like, I'm going to like have sex because that means someone will love me, you know, in
Right.
some ways, like giving
Right.
your body. And I understand that part of like patriarchy stuff. Like we do learn
Yeah.
that, you know? But I think if sex was taught, like you went to Catholic school, they weren't going to teach you this. And in public school, I think we had sex education they put on a film about I don't even know what, but
Right.
it was just like
Right.
not a comprehensive understanding of what it is. And if they could teach it, it's like this is your like sacred energy. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to give that away to
Yeah.
just anyone. And it's so much better when you're connected to another person, you
Right.
know, rather than listen, like I think a lot comes from porn, a lot of expectations. This does come up with my clients where guys come in and they have this expectation that you should want to have sex with women and that it's like right out of a porno. So I
Right.
understand that.
Yeah.
But and that's where like the spirituality dies, you know? Like
Right. Right.
I feel like if it was really understood as what it is, if people like understood like what was happening, because like as you were saying like everything about creation, like no wonder manifestation works then, because we only think of creation in terms of creating human life. But if that
Hmm.
is a point of creating human life, imagine how big the opening is to create like whatever it is that you want to manifest into your life. So
Right.
it's just like an opportunity window.
Right. And something that you said really just really resonated with me too about the fact of like the Catholic religion and religion in general, like putting all of this taboo on it. And I have a lot of store trauma and a lot of like weird feelings and things about sex that I've really had to unpack and move through from being raised in the Catholic Church, being raised in Catholic school. I mean, I went to a high school where they taught you that sex education was abstinence, right? Like that was it.
Mhm.
And I think I have told you this before. Like I literally think I got kicked out of my one of my religion classes. The religion teachers taught sex education, and I had raised my hand and was literally like, they were like teaching it to us at prom, and I raised my hand and was like, or maybe I walked out of the class or something, but like that's not what they were teaching. I was like, how about safe sex? Like, what do you mean? Like, you're teaching an all girl high school that the only way to have safe sex is to not have sex? Like, how is that helping anybody? Like, that's so
Yeah.
beyond me. So I have all of these things, but I'm wondering if all of the Catholic and all of the religious like stigma of it is intentional, and if it was intentional to dull that power of creation, to
Control
stifle
it.
it, yeah, to control it, because there are so many things we talk about, like people, light beings coming in and not remembering who they are, and these distractions and all of these things that really have prevented a lot of us from awakening. I feel
Mhm.
like there's a piece that's there with the religion and stifling the power and really, preventing those of us from stepping into that, because there is such a large power there. And I feel like it was intentional. A lot of
It's
those
to
religious
control.
rituals. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Absolutely. And think about it, because the ancient they're not religions, because I feel like they were different than religions, like the Greeks and the Romans and
Mhm.
even in like before
Civilizations.
civilizations, thank you. Like women were revered. Women were
Yeah.
sex goddesses. Sex was a huge part of rituals.
Hmm.
And it's like once organized religion came into it, sex was really like cut out of it.
Yeah. Villainized.
Like villainized. Like Judaism's a little different because it's not like a religion in the same way, but they had rules about not touching women having to be really clean, like and really it was only for creation to like make the family, right?
Right.
And in Catholicism, Islam, I think it's pretty similar in that way. I don't
Mhm.
know about like touching or anything. But like men and women are not allowed to even touch in Orthodox, at
Isn't
least.
it? Don't they have to have sex through a sheet with like a
No,
hole in
that's
the
just
sheet?
like
Is
no,
that a big thing that I
that's
was
like
like?
propaganda.
I'm so sorry, everyone. That is what I was taught growing up. Okay, I'm so
No,
sorry. I was taught
I
that
think
there was
we
a
were
hole
taught
in a
that
sheet.
too. No, I don't think they
I'm
really
so
do that.
sorry.
No, it's fine. But you do have to like consummate it like after in really religious, like I think even before they like go to a party, they do go to a separate room, consummated, and then Um, but the woman has to go to this thing called a mikveh, and they have to shave everything. They take this ritual bath, and I mean, it's kind of beautiful if it wasn't like kind of misogynistic,
Yeah. Well, I
like
do like the idea of I like the idea of
cleansing.
cleansing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like the idea of cleansing all of your past lovers and all of that energy
Yeah.
off of you. I
Yeah.
do kind of like that idea. I never like thought
Yeah.
of that, but that's not really what they're trying to do. But I like that
Well,
idea
it's
of it.
really like that, like when you first have it, I guess before you get married, and then like after your period, like you always have to.
Right.
Um, because they do not like periods.
Right.
So-
Well, and because the period, right, but that's also because period blood is magical. It's sacred, just
right.
like there were groups like the Magdalens, like the Isis, like sisters, like there were groups of women who gathered and who practiced these sacred rituals that really revered the women who really practiced some of these sexual practices. Not even like, I mean, we're talking to like partners coming together literally and figuratively, but like
Yeah.
also like of self pleasure too, of like really,
Yeah.
caring for yourself and loving yourself. And there were all of these practices and all of these rituals and all of these ceremonies that were more about love and ritual and pleasure and all of these really beautiful things. And even with the Kundalini, they all got these like dirty, negative things kind of thrown at them and turned into that because, to your point, of control. Because if
Right.
you could use those things to, yes, manifest anything that you desired, that's pretty dangerous for
Yeah.
the men of that time. That's pretty dangerous if you could use that to, I don't know, realize all of the things that are wrong in the world, realize the negative thing. Like, I mean, like, that's dangerous stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I think women are really powerful. Like the fact that we can literally grow babies inside our bodies. And, I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of the really powerful deities are women, and I think there is something that threatens men. I don't know so much anymore. I'm sure it still exists, but like back then, especially, like, why were all the witches women? You know?
Well, There were a lot of women killed, but there were some men killed too for like political
Yeah.
reasons. Like there were a lot of people that were just killed
I don't think
during
they
that.
were considered witches, though.
Some, but like, yeah, mostly
Some,
it was
yeah.
women, but like
Predominantly women.
predominantly women. And yeah, I mean, it's funny, of course, like, synchronicity wise, like I just had someone yesterday who a past life came up where she was a woman, and it was like the 1400s, and she was leading a ritual of other women, like,
Mhm.
and it was in like Ireland, like Scotland, and she had been pulled out of because it was predominantly Catholic during that time, and she was like running this underground circle, and they were practicing like the old ways, and they were captured and killed like for practicing that, like as witches, because once the organized religion came in, they didn't want anybody practicing anything else for that reason, right? But like there were times when it was thought of as like when a woman was on her period, that was the most sacred time to have sex with her. That if you were doing that, and this is in a book that was channeled from the Pleiadians, that by we'll put it in the notes, it's called Earth, and it was written in the 90s, where they say that if you have sex with a woman while she's on her period, that you can literally be like receiving downloads and all of the information in the universe. So that is how you can
Wow.
access the information of the universe. So like those time, like that is how you literally access source, is like through the womb.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty
And isn't
insane.
it so interesting? Yeah, it is amazing. But also, what came to me is it's one of the only times where you're really out of control, but you're not anxious. Like you're not worried about what's going to come, but like you said, you surrender. Like, and everything we've talked about has been control, control, control. And it's so interesting that that's the
Mm-hmm.
moment where you're so out of control and you just let whatever happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I just find that so interesting that it's that point where why is that the only thing that we're okay? Because we have this like faith that we're going to be okay.
Right.
We feel pleasure. It's not anything like it's this safety, I guess.
Right. Right. It is. I mean, it's a complete and total free fall, like, and so there is trust in that. And there is like this just total, yeah, this free fall. And I wonder if, I wonder if that is like the closest that we get to really like touching source energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that energy that is the life force energy. So like when I'm working on somebody with like the Kundalini energy, like, or the life
Mm-hmm.
force or the Ka energy, like that is what that is, right? Like that sexual energy. And that energy being like awakened in you and moved through the body. Like it's not even just the womb space. Like once you start working with that energy, like you're moving that through your entire body. And so
Mm-hmm.
like we were talking about this a little bit yesterday, that like once you start opening that also shifts your, not only your reality, but like also your orgasm change, it changes everything. So like
Right.
it can shift. Like I was telling you that like it's like a sexual renaissance when you start opening those pathways, because it
Right.
does change how you
Right.
feel.
Right. And like it's the kind of thing too when people know you've had sex. It's like it's the
Just
energy
had
shift.
sex.
But like
So,
someone's like you're glowing, and there's just like an energy around you. You literally shift your energy.
mhm,
And it creates peace, it creates calm. It literally calms down your nervous system.
mhm.
So it's like imagine what else you could shift when you're in that place. You feel closer to the partner. If you're masturbating, you feel closer and calmer to yourself. So it is, I think, like one of the most magical things you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can definitely work with that energy. And I think it's so cool, and it's so magical. And, I don't know, it's opened a lot for me. I feel like there's, the more that you do past life work, the more you do trauma work and all this stuff, like there's so much there. And it's all fun. It's all fun and games to talk about it. But, like both of us have been through experiences and working with this. Like, I feel like I've unleashed a lot of stuff. Like, it's taken me a lot to get to my quote unquote sexual renaissance. Like, I feel like I have really struggled a lot to get here, to be like, okay with being a sexual person, with shame, with trauma, with all of these things. So like, I know a lot of people deal with sexual assault. A lot of people deal with sexual trauma. A lot of people deal with their sexuality, their orientation. Like there's so much there. And a lot of that comes up in this work. And so I also want to acknowledge that, like, I know that it's not easy to try to work with that energy. So I also wanted to say that.
Right. And I think your trauma is what blocks it. Your shame is what blocks it. And that's why self-work is so important. That's why self-work is not just important to having sex and having a good relationship with it. It's important for spirituality because it's the things that get in the way of you connecting with the highest self, with source. So it is a real thing. I've experienced it, you've experienced it in some way. And, I think it derails us in some ways, but it also, like, getting through it is one of the most spiritual things. Like, I've learned so much about myself, and as painful as it was to overcome, like, maybe I'm not in my sexual renaissance, but I am so much like closer to myself. I mean, I'm also gay, and there is such thing as a lesbian deadbed. So,
There's a lesbian what?
Deadbed, where you just like stop having sex.
I have never heard of this.
Okay, well, it is like literally you hauling. Yeah, I mean, it's not like we don't, but it's just like not like all the time, but because you become best friends, it's
Nobody
like different than a man
to have
and
sex
woman.
all the time anyway.
Yeah.
People that say I'm sorry if anybody's listening that has sex like several times a week, like, God bless, good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to have sex that often, so I don't care, but I think that it really is something that is going to help you in every way. And no shame if you're on your journey, if you have trouble with it. This is just showing you that it's worth doing the work, because something really magical and amazing and connecting can come from it.
Yeah.
And it sucks that someone has the power to take that away, but what's empowering is taking it back.
Yeah.
Completely. And it is hard work.
Yeah.
But that is how you really get back on this spiritual path and this journey and purpose, even if that is something you've experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And and I wanted to acknowledge that too, because like, I don't feel like I'm definitely not one of those people that's like, oh, like I have sex all the time. Like I've never been one of those people. And I feel like I've overcome a lot of shame. And also I live in a 2-family house with my parents. So this is like, we're not having orgies here at this house at all. But as I told Beth, like, for me, when I say sexual renaissance, it's that I'm in my late 30s and I'm opening myself up in new ways. And I've started, I encourage everybody to do this. I just started reading some romantasy books with spicy scenes in them. And it's changing me in some ways, because I'm feeling like I'm allowing myself to be more open, and I've always been a little bit more nervous. And I've been with my partner for 10 years, so it's not exactly like new and exciting, but I feel like after you've been with somebody for 10 years, like I feel like I would still be nervous. And I feel like that's not like, I'd be like, oh, like, still like tensing and like nervous of like, oh my God, like, do I have to like be with my partner? Like, it's like things like that I was still feeling, that like, I feel like I'm working through all of that. So I just want, there's different things that you can do. And I just wanted to let people know that there's another side of it. Like, there's light on the other side of the tunnel. And if it's something that you do want to work through, like there's ways to work through it. And there's no sex swings over here. There's a toddler in a 2-family house.
There's just,
but yeah,
there is fairy and vampire smut
There's
books.
fairy and vampire smut books, and if
Yes.
anyone needs recos, you could just send me a message online. And if you
heated rivalry.
and
I
heated
don't know
rivalry.
why. That is like for straight women too. Like they say it's like for gay men and straight women. It is sexy. It was so good. Highly recommend. And they are just so hot. So
Yeah,
I
highly
mean,
recommend. But yeah, and if you just want your Kundalini activated, just come to me.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
that's so interesting that we didn't really hit on that because that's always how it was presented to me is it's like a sexual awakening.
Right. Well, and I kind of like I briefly taught like I mean it is the same
Yeah.
energy, but it doesn't
Right.
and it looks like people like my mom always said like she gets uncomfortable when I post videos of myself like when I'm moving in that way. And she'll be like, it looks very sexual. And I'm like, well, I'm not having an orgasm, but when I run the Kundalini energy at the same time, it's like, it's crazy. But like it is a similar energy, right? It is the same thing.
Yeah.
But when I'm working on you, you could attest to this. Like, you don't feel like it doesn't feel sexual when I'm working on you like that. Like, it's not.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Some people do orgasm though. Like, but I mean, I've seen like really weird things. Like someone said, I don't know if I was listening to a podcast, but they said they like orgasm from like an archangel. Like they came and had sex with me, and I'm like, I don't want to doubt anyone's experience, but like maybe.
I mean, hey, I'm available for that. I mean, hey.
Yes.
Well, Josh and I are strictly platonic.
They're platonic. The like platonic.
I'm taken from a soul. No, but that's interesting because, it really depends on where you're feeling the energy and your intention because like, I don't, here's the other thing. Like it really also depends again on the energy that's running. Like if I was doing Kundalini activations only, maybe I would have a different opinion on this because I have done when I was doing more Kundalini activation, I did have a client once that was like making a lot of noises and going wild and like I don't know. But I don't really think that that's what I do necessarily anymore.
Yeah.
I pull on the Kundalini energy when I need it. Like I had a session with someone yesterday and she was all snake, like that was what needed to be lit up. So her Kundalini needed to be run. So I ran her Kundalini and that's what like needed to go on. But I don't pull on it with everybody all the time. So I think that really depends on like the person and their body and what they need. So I don't think it's always sexual. Sometimes it's also just creative energy, like it doesn't always have to be that.
But they both live in the sacral, right? So I wonder if there's some like mixed messaging or like an orgasm releases the creativity, like I could see if that happened, it could be like an unblocking.
Yes. Well, people can awaken their Kundalini by having sex or having an orgasm. And sometimes those are the spontaneous awakenings, which are not necessarily always good because those are, when, the bad rap that Kundalini's gotten is because people have spontaneous awakenings and then their nervous system goes haywire and then they don't have the right support because it wasn't intentional. You can awaken the Kundalini that way. Now, because it lives in the root and that the Kundalini, right, is at the root of our spine, right? Coiled up. That's why we call it the snake. So when it awakens, it moves through. But there's so many other things going on. So it's like, I do think that it's connected to that. So it can feel that way, but it doesn't always have to feel that way. Like if you are somebody like, let's say the Kundalini rushes up to your third eye and then you see colors and you have a psychedelic experience, like it could be that way too, So like it really depends.
I feel like that's always my way.
Yeah.
Like the psychedelics.
Yeah. Like sometimes it's a trip and sometimes like you're really moving the hips, but you could also decide to either be in your body or be in more of the astral.
Right.
Like it really just depends. So.
Well, now that makes me think, I'm like, I wonder if because of trauma, that is safer for me to go there. But that's like a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But
we should do an episode on energy, like in the body and different places. Like we should talk about that. And the blocks.
That's for next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next time. So anyway.
Well, if you need help with your sexual awakening, call us.
We're here to help. Come to me for the activation, and then Beth will do the rest. Okay, so come see us. We're here to support any of this. If you have any questions, any feelings about this, anything that you want to know, need to know, come see us. That's why we're here, and we're happy to help.
Yes. See you next time. Bye.